Hi, this is Billy Freddy. I'm doing another little cooking experiment. Went to Golden Corral the other day to eat ribeyes, and prime rib, and it was a real big disappointment. So anyway, the recipe is fairly simple. I'm going to start with, you got to cook it at room temperature, so you got to set the meat out for 6 hours on the counter for room temperature. You can start some of the marinating process beforehand. You just don't want to add anything with salt until right before you cook it. You don't want to add any of your salt product. So what I'm doing right now is I got about a half a cup of liquid butter. Not liquid, but soft butter. I'm just using Parkay squeezable margarine, and then I put a half of a teaspoon of parsley, half a teaspoon of rosemary, and a half a teaspoon of thyme. And I'm gonna mix that up with the butter, and then I'm gonna coat the entire ribeye. Now, the most important thing is to cut a meat. It's the same thing as eating steak. Prime rib is made with basically ribeye. So you're looking at a $50 cut of meat. It's not cheap, but if it turns out as good as the videos I've seen, it'll be well worth it, because this is 5.5 pounds, and I'm using a combination of a couple different recipes that I got off the internet, which when I talk about it on the next thing, I'll give credit to those. But for right now, what I'm doing is, while this is setting to come up to room temperature, I'm going to go ahead and start now. This was going to hold the salt and pepper I have to add here in a little bit. You want this completely covered, every little nook and cranny there is, including the flip side. Alright, so right now I just got the butter on there with the 3 spices, and I'm waiting for room temperature to come up, and we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, it's been out on the counter for almost 6 hours. I'm going to finish it up and get it in the oven. I'm preheating the oven now. First thing I'm going to do is tie it. Never tied a piece of meat before. Supposedly this Alright, I tied it. Now I'm going to take some salt. This is kosher salt. And I'm going to put in some pepper. About a tablespoon. You want to use peppercorn pepper, whole, grounded up already. It's liver, you want to coat it really well. You're going to feel like you're over salting it, but this is just on the outside. I got a half a teaspoon of paprika, onion powder, and garlic powder and onion powder. And I'm just going to sprinkle this. I just put it in a shaker. Alright, I got my prime rib ready to go. I've got my meat thermometer in it. I've got it set so it'll go off at 125 internal temperature. Got my seasons on, my salt and pepper. And I'm ready to stick it in the oven. Oven at 500 for 27 minutes. And then I'll take it out. And then I just cut the oven off. I don't take it out, and I'll leave it in there until it reaches to 125. All right, like I said, I've got the meat probe in. I've got it halfway in, going in, set for internal temperature at 125 because that's when we want to pull it out. So I'm ready to stick this in. And at that point, I won't be pulling it back out again until alright, I had family come over. I didn't really get to record it when I poured it out of the oven. And we've already cut it and been eating on it, but I just wanted to show you it turned out perfect. Nice and pink in the center. I used a 5 minutes per pound for the 500 degrees. And then I had a meat thermometer in it, and I let it heat up to 130 degrees inside and took it off. But I wanted to have a conclusion to my cooking video.